We're here in London speaking with Jim Rogers about China. Hello, Jim.
Delighted to be here, Howard.
Glad to have you. Jim, you are a long-time China bull. You've seen the potential of China for many, many years. You now even live with your family in Singapore. And yet we've seen a huge decline in the Chinese stock market, around 60% or so from the top back in October and November 2007. Right. Where do you see things going in China?
Well, we certainly had a big correction. The Chinese government was trying to cool things off for 2 or 3 years, as you know, and now it's happened to coincide with recession in the West. So, yes, it's a normal correction. The market's down 70% or so, or went down 70% or so. But, Howard, in 1907, the entire American financial system went bankrupt, just as we were on the verge of becoming the greatest country in the 20th century. In 1966, the entire Japanese financial system bankrupt. All the brokerage firms bankrupt, just as they were about to become the great success story of the end of the 20th century. This is not the end of the world.
Now, but China has been a terrific economic story, but it has not been a great stock market story except for those couple of years between 2005 and 2007. How do you think investors should play China, assuming that you're right, that China will be the great growth country of the next century?
Well, what I'm doing is the same I do in any other country. I try to buy industries that are going to do well no matter what happens to the economy or to the stock market, because in the end, historically, those industries are going to come out of this and the stocks will go much higher. Water treatment in China has a fabulous future. Agriculture in China has a fabulous future. There's some industries that are going to do well, and if I'm buying the right stocks, eventually I'll do well.
Now, one other problem with China is that some of the stocks, some of the companies, are actually 80% owned by the state, and some of the disclosure is not quite as transparent as we would like it here in America. How should an investor approach those issues?
Sounds like America, doesn't it? Remember Enron? Remember WorldCom? What are you talking about? Remember Bear Stearns? Remember Lehman Brothers? No, you have these problems everywhere. We've always had these problems in stock markets around the world throughout history, including America. So you just have to be careful, and if you don't know what you're doing or cannot do your analysis, you can invest in China by buying commodities. They have to buy commodities. They have to be nice to you. If you've got cotton or nickel, you can buy the currency, you can buy an index. There are other ways to do it besides buying specific companies.
So an ETF with a broad-based China index, a commodities ETF, or a renminbi ETF might make sense for people to get exposure.
Conceivably, if you do your homework, they all sound conceivable, yes.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We've been speaking with Jim Rogers on the MoneyShow.com video network.